Hey guys and girls, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a seat install. So you see behind me I have two sets of our 6LE Recaro Style seats, and I'm going to bolt them onto our own personal brackets that we make, as well as stick them in a car and show you guys the difference. So what I have behind me, again, is just our base model. This used to be called the 6LE seat because when I was 6-liter eater, that's what I ran in all my cars. I just love this seat. I've actually driven in these seats from California to Georgia, Georgia to New York, New York to Florida, Florida back to California, and that was just one trip. I absolutely love them. They are a step above Trans Am seats, which I think are a step above Camaro seats to begin with. Our seats come with the universal sliders, but we also make these brackets. So these are seat brackets so that you can bolt them directly into your 1982 to 2002 F-body. And what we did with these brackets is we tried to make the seats sit as low as possible, solely because these seats have some extra padding to begin with. They lift your thighs up to put you in the right position for racing. However, a lot of aftermarket seat brackets end up making you sit about an inch or two higher than what your factory seat does. So what we did with ours is we have just enough clearance for you to get in here with a nice gear wrench and tighten those up. But you'll notice that kick we have. So what this does is I cannot talk this morning. I have bees swarming all around me because I have a makeshift bee feeder with some Coca-Cola cans right now. So sorry if I'm a little distracted, they're buzzing me. It wouldn't sit like this, it would actually sit like this, and that's on purpose. We drop your lower butt back a little to lift your thighs up. That's all, you know, for racing. So many bees. A lot of other brackets put you level in the car, which makes you actually sit like this. Our brackets are made to drop back a little bit to give you like the most head clearance, especially if you're running a race helmet or anything else. And if you're over like 5'10", these cars are not really made for you to begin with. So at the very least, you can have a nice seat that kicks back and you're going to sit at the factory position. So there's not a lot to this. We are going to include hardware. This hardware is very simple, nuts and bolts. The trick is this nut slides right into our universal sliders. So if you were to buy the seats separate, you just get the seats in our universal sliders. If you buy the brackets separate, you just get the brackets. When you buy them together and we know exactly what's going together, then we know what hardware to send you. This hardware matches our seats, this hardware matches our brackets. We leave it all up for anybody who just wants to try out our brackets on other cars. You'll notice that we have a few different mounting holes. We've tried to make our brackets so that they cover the two most popular seat mounting hole positions between Recaro and Corbeau, basically. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to show you some close-ups of the seats, but I'm also going to zoom in and show you exactly how you get this little nut to go into the slider, because it's just the exact same size as the rail, so it stays put and you can tighten it. They're the right length that they don't go up higher to intrude. But there ain't much else to it. So I'm going to turn it around, show you some seats, stick some brackets onto it, and then we'll go pull my car apart and see what they look like in there. Okay, first things first, there's the bees I was talking about. They're not getting a lot of plants this time of year, so I'm feeding them sugar. Here's the seat though. It's a really nice seat. This is actually like a PVC leather, which basically means that it's a leather, but then it's going to be sprayed in like a polyurethane to get the black. It's no different than your factory seat. Those also are much less leather, actually. They're just the front portions and everything sprayed. You have a nice one lift release here. You don't have to worry about cranking a knob or anything like that. This tilts it forward, this tilts it all the way back for you. We use the same material on the back, so you don't have some weird texture and different things like Brom, for example, does. And that's it. So we got really nice stitching on here. We're gonna make emblems that actually go into this little spot. These are our brackets. We label them passenger, we label them driver. Actually, I have two passengers sitting here, I just realized. So I need to go swap one of these up for a driver. But they come raw. These are powder coated because these seats are actually gonna go in my car, so I got them powder coated. We have another set of brackets for another seat. We can powder coat them for you. It's just my powder coater has gotten so expensive. This used to cost I don't know, maybe like 60 bucks to powder coat these two brackets. Now we're at $180. So you can probably just spray paint them cheaper yourself, or maybe you have a powder coater that's cheaper. Again, this is our same seat, it's just the passenger side, which means that you do not have the lift here. A lot of cheaper seats have knobs on both sides. Those aren't actually even gonna fit inside of your car because they're too wide. This one's nice slim profile, again, to fit inside of third gens as well as fourth gens, because third gens have a big seatbelt receptacle thing here. And again, it's just one touch, fold it back. So that's the basics of the seats. I'm going to start getting these brackets. First, I got to get the right bracket bolted on here, and I'll show you that. And then once we get them in the car, we'll do some more close-ups on the seats and show you what they look like. All right, so we just take the correct passenger side seat bracket. This is the bottom. We're going to set it on top. Your legs go towards the back. Then, as you can see, we'll just find our holes and line them up. So I got this hole lined up there, which means I'm good for that hole. Got this hole lined up there, which means I'm good for that hole. So now I'm gonna put this camera on a tripod and show you how easy they bolt together. All right, so you'll notice here, this is the hole that I'm going for. So I can get more access to it, I'm simply gonna depress this, slide that forward, super simple. Then my nut is actually gonna go right in here. I just dropped that one. Let me use one that's still connected so I can show you. It slides into there and then it won't turn. The nut stays locked in place. Now that's gonna be reversed. We're gonna do it that way, but I wanted to show you what that looked like. All right, super simple. Slide my bracket on. I'm going to put my nut in from the bottom and hold it. And then very simply, bolt, washer, lock washer. If I can find my hole. There it is. All right, we get a wrench. She's tightened on there and she's started. Now I'm just gonna get some tools. I don't need to hold this, but I need to like start tightening this down. Okay, well that didn't work. Even when it's our seats and our sliders, this hardware has always been such a pain for like the past decade. You really need a square nut that goes in there. That's what you're trying to lock it off on, but a lot of people just don't make that square nut size because the sliders ended up getting a little smaller and a little bigger than most square nut sizes. So we were trying to fix it with this actual nut, but now the bolt is too big. It wouldn't go in the hole. I thought it was tight and that I needed a wrench, but it won't go in the hole. Not a big deal. I'm just gonna take a conical drill bit. I'm gonna open the holes up some to use these. But in the meantime, I shall start scouring the internet again to try to find square nuts that actually fit these for you guys. So glad I figured it out instead of you, but worst case scenario, if you're bolting your own seats together, get a nut that's big enough to fit within the slider retainer, which this is, and then I'm just gonna open up the holes. So time to open up some holes. Okay, so here we are again. So this is my hole. This is my bolt. The bolt won't go in the hole. What I'm gonna use, instead of just a drill bit, I tend to use a conical drill bit. It's like a step drill bit. It allows me to not keep changing bits if it's not big enough. Here we go. And I guess I need to, there you guys are. Hi, I need to go charge a drill. I'll be back. And we're back. As you can see here, my drill, I charged it some and I tried this one out to make sure it was charged. Walled the hole a little bit. She fits in there good now. So I'll flip the camera around. I'll show you how I do one other side and then I'll get them all wallowed out and start bolting them together. Other side. So here's the hole. I'm going to push this down, slide this forward for better access. Show you the bolt. Does not fit, but it's about to. Conical drill bit with a stepper on it. All good. Figured I'd also show you the back ones while I'm here. There's 3 different holes down here, and then a 4th one that's a little larger, more oblonged. That's the one we're going to use. I'm going to depress the handle again. I'm going to slide this down. I don't want, oops, bolts in the way. I don't want to drill this on top of these sliders and get metal shavings down in there. So just get the hole past your sliders and drill it out. So, bolt doesn't fit. Make it. Alright, so I'm just going to take my seat bracket, put it on top, line my holes up. Those guys are good there. Get my nut from the back. And I have my bolt washer and lock washer here. Put this in. And this time, she actually worked. Now what I'm going to do is on the inside, I'm going to check this bolt and make sure it's not hitting anything as it slides in. If it is, I'll just space it up with some washers. But I'm going to do the other sides, check them all, and show you what she looks like. Okay, quick update. So I drilled the holes out, got it on there. Thought for a second that our holes were off and that they didn't line up, and then my wife came out and just moved it a little. I forgot that everything was loose. So we're good to go on that now. The update is that when we started doing these like 15 years ago, our seat supplier also provided hardware with the sliders, and they used nuts that were square nuts that slid perfectly in, and then they did a bolt from the bottom. I couldn't find the square nut, so I was trying to do the same thing with a nut and a bolt from the bottom. I just realized that makes it way harder than it needs to be. You can actually put the bolt facing downwards in your slider, and then put your washer, your lock washer, and your nut in from the bottom. That saves you from having to get the exact right size bolt that doesn't clear, that clears the slider mechanisms going back and forth. Saves you a lot of headache. So ignore what I said there. Watch what I'm about to do, which is simply take these bolts and put them in the slider, drop them down, and then if this was, you know, the seat was facing up, these would be facing the ground. These all go on. Here we go. Okay, so I have all my bolts coming through the other direction now. So you can see that. All of my holes line up on my brackets, so we're good there. Pulling this off. I try to pull this off. Oh, so that I can install it now. Because I just had the nuts holding in place to make sure that that bracket fit this before I started trying to mess with it. So let's do this one first. All right, I'm gonna loosen this guy up. Holding my bolt in from the back. Slide our bracket on. And washer. Lock washer. Nut. Okay, I'll repeat over here. Another one nut. Slide our bracket on. Washer, lock washer, nut. And now to access these, I'm going to depress this, slide these back. We'll bring the camera around a little bit, and it's just rinse and repeat. So, should have taken my nuts out first, but we're here now. There we go. And washer, lock washer. I'll keep this one a little looser. Now that I don't need to slide these back and forth, keep it loose so I can get this guy off. Go ahead and loosen this guy up too. Little play there. Loosen this guy up too. Okay. Alright. Back through. Washer. Lock washer. Alright, we're good. Just gonna tighten these up with the socket wrench and then flip it around. Alright, time to tighten. Okay, all tight. I'm gonna check and make sure she slides. All good. And here's some close-ups. So these seats already come with spacers. If you really want to sit even lower, you can take these spacers out. It's just an Allen head bolt. Pull the spacers out. There's plenty of room behind here that you can send the threads that much further and not worry about hitting anything. That's what she looks like mounted. So that's the bottom. We got those extra 4 bolt holes for different style seats. We use these 4 for our seats. Sits as low profile as we can get her. And then of course you can lose another ½ inch if you want to by just pulling those spacers out. All right, I'm back. I didn't wait a day. That actually went pretty quick. Not sure if you can hear me because they're loading shingles onto my neighbor's roof right now. So there's a diesel truck. But here's what I look like sitting in a factory seat Camaro. So I have about this much clearance on top. If I were to go up, this is pretty much straight up and down. It's about how much clearance I have up the top. So I normally sit like this. So that's kind of like the height that we're looking for. You know, got about an inch between my roof and the A-pillar, basically. So let's pull this seat out, stick the other seat in, and see what she looks like. Okay, the first thing you need to do is remove your seatbelt guide. I pull that up. You can see that right in there, won't focus, but there are 2 Phillips screws. So I want to get those out. There's better access. You can see these 2 right here. And here we go. That. Now I'm going to keep my power plugged in while I need it to be able to get to these different bolts. I'm doing these first because this car is pretty much factory, so I still have these plates to remove from it as well. Right down there. And then this guy over here. Pardon the very dirty car. It's about to get new black carpet. So you pull these out, you're going to see that you have a 13mm nut. We just need to remove that. Same thing on that side over there, and then in the back behind the seat. That's why I did not unplug this power seat yet, because I still need to slide it forward to get to the back bolts. Alright, let's start wrenching. Actually, I'll show you on the back. There's a plastic cover here as well. While I have my screwdriver, I went ahead and slid my seat forward so I can remove these guys. That gives you access to these nuts. Yeah, that's what I said. And gonna remove this one, and then we'll take the seat out. I need 2 hands. now I've got this nut off and I've got that nut off. I'm eventually going to unplug this wire. This is what plugs in your power seat. But for now, I need it to go backwards again. I'm going to take the front off, then I'll push it forward one last time so that I can remove the wire. But this is actually pretty quick. Definitely quicker than 25-year-old power seats. And the front. Okay, I had to put the camera down to actually finish it, but these nuts are removed. I'm going to slide it forward one last time, which just shows you should remove the front first, then remove the back, so you don't have to wait on this thing a billion times. I'm going to reach back under here, show you this connector. I'm going to need both hands to do it. But this is what you want to unplug, and it's the final thing to do before you lift your seat out. All right, she's all loose. She's rocking back and forth. I'm going to use both hands, pull her out of here, and show you how gross my carpet is. And that's how gross my carpet is. I bought this car for like $7 grand. I'm going to pull this carpet out and put in a newer, nicer ebony. Anyway, that's why I haven't bothered. And sadly, like, that's actually my Coke stain. But yeah, here she is out. Let's drop this seat in here, see how she looks, and close this video out. And there she is in the car. I'm not saying installed. I just have these two bolt holes on, these two nuts on the studs. Gotta do the back still, but she looks great in here. The profiles really fit the curves of the rest of the interior. A lot of the radiuses are the same that you find in the rest of the interior. That's why this seat, at least to me, let's get around here a little better. That's why this seat actually looks good in the car, like it actually was made for the car, because again, different radiuses and roundnesses here, sorry, I got a door trying to shut on me, kind of match different elements of the car. So a lot of times you'll see an aftermarket seat, and it's big and wild and crazy and it looks cool, but it looks like you just stuck it in the car. Whereas this, even as our base model, because we do offer factory stitching and other things in here, but even on the base model, it looks like it's just a factory upgraded seat. Okay, so let me show you how I look sitting in it, so you can judge for yourself on how well our brackets sit. Speaking of, give you a little shot down there. These guys are as slim, as low as we can get them, but you can still get your wrenches in there. So let's do a height comparison. And we're back. I do my best to try to put it in the same spot for you, but here we go. I'd say I have the exact same height clearance I had before, which is what I wanted. Now, if you need to have half an inch extra, you can take these spacers out. But right now, I feel like I'm sitting exactly where I was in the OEM seat. My head has room. Even if I were to come up a little higher, you know, still got a little bit of room. Be a little problem with the race helmet, but this is where I sit actually, about here naturally anyway. So I have plenty of head clearance. Again, I'm like 5'10 and a half, almost 5'11, but with the hat, you know, there's gonna be extra clearance, and I'm wearing the hat just for you guys that are taller to get some type of idea about how you're going to fit in this thing. So that's it. That's the product. That's our base seats. That's the brackets that we make that go with them. This is all the thought and engineering that went behind it, down to even changing some things now to make it easier for you guys to install. I'm going to get carpet for this interior, so I'm going to show you guys pulling all that out, and then I'll put both seats back in and film that. We're also doing a custom set of these that are going to be white houndstooth, with white houndstooth lower door panel inserts and white houndstooth rear seats to match. So I will just make another video. I'm going to show you guys what they look like in the car and some of our custom stuff. But for today, now you know how to attach some seat brackets to the bottom of your universal sliders. You could even use your factory power rails with these seats, but you just have to make basically a square piece of metal that you cut the holes into to bolt it on. The factory seats, the sliders are a little curved. They go up into the seat, so you'll need some type of spacer to counter for that curve. You will sit a little higher, especially than if you use our brackets, but it is doable. For guys that are like 5'11" to 6'2", and you hated your car because you couldn't really fit in it, these are your answer. Definitely take those spacers out, give you a little bit more room even. But as far as I know, we make the best brackets on the market. We might actually be the ones who make the only brackets on the market. But it's after 20 years of living and breathing these cars and trying to get it tweaked just perfect. So hope you enjoyed the video. I hope all my mess ups help someone else figure out how to do it on their car. And if you like this stuff, just drop me a comment and I'll keep making it. Thanks everyone.